Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name's Samantha and I make videos on minimalism and intentional living. And today I'm going to share with you a list of 50 normal things that minimalists don't do. So the first thing in the list is that minimalists don't compete with their friends and family. It's actually pretty natural to compare yourself to your peer group, and you might compare your financial status and your possessions. But the great thing about minimalism is that it trains you to live simply and to be content within your lot. So you can take pleasure in other people's successes without circling back and comparing it to your own success or your lack thereof. Minimalism brings with it a longer and deeper lasting sense of satisfaction than the short-term satisfaction that you might get by having a nicer house than somebody else or a bigger car than somebody else. The next thing minimalists don't do is they don't follow fashion trends. I, for one, am not going to buy clothes with a statement sleeve or biker shorts because I'm not convinced that those items will be timeless, and minimalists tend to pick their clothes in terms of what is going to last the longest. You'll see a lot of minimalists practice a neutral color palette, and that's because they're trying to increase the longevity of their clothes as much as possible. By the time I came to minimalism, I already had an established wardrobe, and in fact I have a video on this channel that documents all my clothes and shoes, and I'll link that video in the description below and also in the cards above. It's actually one of my most popular videos, so you might enjoy watching that. I do actually like the neutral color palette that a lot of minimalists adopt, but I'm not going to go out there and buy a whole bunch of new clothes just to fall within some preconceived notion of how a minimalist should look. The next thing minimalists don't do is that they don't get sentimental over their items. They're not going to keep every stuffed toy that they had as a child or keep every single gift that their mum gave them. That's not to say that they don't have some pieces that they are sentimental about. It's just that they're a bit more ruthless than the normal person. The reason why that's made possible is because regular declutters allows them to train themselves to really focus in on the core items that they want to keep with them for the rest of their lives. The next thing minimalists don't do is that they don't keep hold of every single jar of Dolmio, and this is something that my mum does. She keeps hold of every single empty jam jar, Dolmio sauce jar, Nescafe coffee jar, and she cleans them out, and her reasoning is that she's going to reuse them, and in fact she does reuse quite a few. She puts her spices in them and a whole myriad of other items, but the fact is she still has far too many as backups in her shed, and this is something that's my absolute bugbear. So as a minimalist, I definitely don't share her love of keeping empty jars. The next thing minimalists don't do is that they don't keep hold of clothes that they aren't going to wear, and this is something that I was guilty of for a long time. Not only did those clothes take up space in my wardrobe, but they also took up space in my head because I felt guilty for not wearing them, and I was always trying to find a place to wear these things, but they were completely inappropriate. Either they were event dresses, or they were items that didn't look good on me or didn't fit me correctly, or even they were fancy dresses that I'd bought for a party here or there. So what I ended up doing was doing a whole declutter of my wardrobe and my shoes. Again, I filmed that process and I'll link that video in the description below and also in the cards above. And ever since then, I've kept my wardrobe very functional. Every single item in my wardrobe is something that I can truly wear. And the next thing that minimalists don't do is that they don't buy shoes just because they're pretty. This was something I was guilty of doing in my 20s. It was the time of Sex and the City, and I didn't necessarily understand that the consumerist messaging in that program wasn't something that I should take on. So instead, I accumulated all these beautiful high-heeled shoes that I couldn't wear because my ability to wear high heels has always been pretty bad, to be honest with you. And I'd feel so guilty because I had all of these shoes lying around that I wasn't wearing, that I'd try and convince myself that one day I would be a different person, my life would be different, and my ability to wear high heels would also be different. But then I just got real with myself and I decluttered those shoes, and I'm a lot happier. The next thing minimalists don't do is that they don't buy cute items that they spot near the checkout. Now, you know the situation, you're queuing to pay for something and there are all these cute little novelty items next to the checkout. Even though something might catch my eye, because I've spent so much time and effort decluttering my space, I give every single thing that I invite into my life a lot of time and consideration. So I'm certainly not going to impulse buy something that I spot near the checkout counter. And the next thing minimalists don't do is that they don't accept gifts that they don't want. As a minimalist, I've learned how to separate my feelings for the person giving me the gift from the gift itself. So if I'm aware that somebody is going to give me a gift that I don't want, I ask for an alternative. Now, obviously, I'm talking about people whose feelings won't be hurt and who understand and appreciate my minimalist journey. So for example, example, my best friend, my mom, my sister, and my husband all spend a substantial amount of money on me on my birthday. So before my birthday, I let them know what's on my wish list. And in that way, I truly get something that I want and I ensure that they don't waste their money. The next thing minimalists don't do is that they don't get taken in by advertising. And you know the advertising I'm talking about, those ads that pop up while you're scrolling through your social media. As a minimalist, I know that I'm not generally in the market to buy anything, so ignoring advertising has become second nature. Now, obviously, I don't speak for every single minimalist out there. As with everything on this list, I'm going from my own personal experience. The next thing minimalists don't do is that they don't get fulfillment from shopping. Now, I'm not saying that minimalists are immune to the thrill of buying something new. I know that when I finally upgrade my phone or when I buy that designer handbag that I've been wanting for years, that I'm going to be very excited. But as a minimalist, I tend to save my money and to invest in quality items because I'm spending a lot of time and effort decluttering and freeing up my space. Continually buying things really defeats what I'm trying to achieve. If you're one of those people who have decided to go down the minimalism journey but are struggling with shopping, then my advice to you would be to be gentle with yourself and to be persistent in your minimalist habits, and over time you'll be able to change your shopping mindset. The next thing minimalists don't do is that they don't regret letting go of something that they may have needed after all. When you first come to minimalism, in your overzealousness, you may get rid of something that you find that you need after all. And this has certainly happened to me, but that's okay. It's important to realize that a minimalism journey cannot always be perfect and mistake-free. And the next thing that minimalists don't do is that they don't feel guilty for wanting something nice. I've been very open about the fact that I really want a designer handbag, but we all know that that's a luxury rather than an essential. But just because I'm a minimalist, that doesn't mean that I'm blind to the beauty and value of luxury goods. In fact, my minimalism journey has made it more possible than ever that I might actually end up with a designer bag because of my frugal living ways. Over the last couple of years, I've been practicing a low buy, no buy. Now, if you don't know, a low buy, no buy is a challenge where you commit to not spending any money on anything you consider non-essential. I've documented my journey on this channel in a series of videos which I'll link in the description below and also in the cards above. Because of my frugal living ways, I have a lot more disposable income than ever before, and as a minimalist, my aim is to surround myself with things that I believe will enrich my life and bring me pleasure, and if that is one day a designer handbag, then so be it. The next thing minimalists don't do is that they don't keep boxes just because they're pretty. I actually had this dilemma very recently. My best friend sent me a bunch of flowers in this beautiful round hat box, and in fact I did end up keeping the box for about a week after the flowers were dead and had been thrown away, because I was thinking, I might be able to use this box as some kind of storage somewhere. But I soon realized that if I didn't have an immediate use for it, it's unlikely that I'd be using it anytime soon, and I didn't want to carry this hat box with me forever. That is definitely not what minimalism is about. And this leads me neatly onto the next thing on my list, and that is minimalists don't keep hold of items just in case they come in useful one day. Stuff not only takes up physical space, but it also takes up mental space, because you're thinking in the back of your mind that you have all of these things that you need to put to use. The great thing about minimalism is that it takes that intangible pressure off, and this is why so many minimalists are so passionate about this lifestyle. And the last thing that minimalists don't do is that they don't generally buy backups and multiples of items, and this has come in really useful for me when it comes to makeup, because I don't allow myself to buy replacements until I've finished every single drop of a beauty product. I really ensure that I get great value for money. And with that, I come to the end of my list of 50 normal things that minimalists don't do. As always, guys, I really hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to like, comment and subscribe, as it really does help my channel, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!